So today's episode is called The Power of Words. Now, words are more than just communication. They're not just about what you hear and what you say, but the impact of the specific words that you use and how that affects both you and the outside world. Words are a direct path into creating the reality you live in. Obviously, the things that you say to yourself, the specific words you use when talking to others or yourself have the potential to lift, keep you stagnant, or tear you down. We need to dive into how the words impact your inner world, the people around you, and ultimately your path to success. The most important conversation you'll ever have, what do you think that one is? It's not the conversation with your kid. It's not the conversation with the president. And it's not the conversation with your parents or your boss, but it's the one that you have with yourself on a daily basis. Your internal dialogue then seems to set the tone for what you achieve, your self image, and ultimately what you say to yourself becomes your reality. If you constantly say things such as, I'm always behind on things, guess what? You're going to stay behind. What happens is that your brain registers that as an identity, as a command, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Instead of saying, I always get behind on things or I'm always behind on things, instead say, I'm getting better at managing my time. When you say that, your brain begins to search for ways to make that true. You set yourself up for success by framing your actions positively. Another example might be saying, I'm broke. If you say I'm broke, you're more likely to stay broke. Instead, you're saying things such as, I'm building financial discipline. The words broke and building set completely different tones, don't they? When you say broke, you think of being stuck, whereas building speaks of progress, doesn't it? The words might seem small in respect of, well, there's not much difference between saying, I'm building financial discipline or I'm broke. But actually, they are hugely transformative. We'll come on to advertisement and sales as we go through, but your mind is wired to follow the lead of your language. Let's take another example. Maybe your physical appearance. You might catch yourself saying things such as, I'm ugly. And what you will do then is reinforce lower self-esteem, bad habits, which will lower your confidence. Instead, again, shift that to I'm working on my improving my health and appearance. I dress well. When you think positively and in this way, you're more likely to take actions that align with that belief, as I said. You'll dress better, take care of your health, and carry yourself differently. You live out the word you speak. Now, as I promised a moment ago, we talk about advertisement and sales. So, obviously, in the world of sales, words are everything. The way something is phrased can make or break a deal. Salesmen understand that, don't they? They understand that choosing the right words can elevate the perception of a product or a service. An example may be that this car's been around for 10 years. Sounds less impactful than saying this car has performed beautifully for a decade. There's not a huge difference in the sentence, but it does have a huge difference in impact. The shift in language makes a statement sound more robust and credible. Another example you might say is you might say, well, we've got 9,000 employees. Instead, you could say close to 10,000. You're not lying, but you're framing it in a way that makes the number seem bigger than it is. Instead of describing something as cheap, a salesman may say something such as cost effective. So, what you're doing is you're taking away the negative of something being cheap and you're using a positive term that is cost effective. Now, one or two of these, although they will make a difference, imagine using 10 or 15 of these key changes in a presentation or when you're speaking to yourself. There's going to be a huge difference in the results that you generate. Subtle shifts like this can change the perception of a product or how you elevate your everyday language to talk about yourself. This can shift your mindset and the way others perceive you. Exaggerate the words you use as well. Don't say things like "I'm fine." Instead, say "I'm fantastic." Don't describe a good day as okay. Describe it as amazing. You add energy to your experiences, and obviously, people see you as more of a positive person. Even saying those words brings you greater joy. Now, we've talked a lot about influencing through sales, but also individually talking to yourself. But there's other ways that you can influence with your words as well. People often live up to the expectations you set for them. For example, you might tell your colleague, "You're always so reliable." What will happen is, even if they're not hugely reliable, is they'll strive to maintain that label, even subconsciously, and even if they didn't initially see themselves that way. If you tell your child, "You're very creative," they're more likely to lean into that creativity, which is why you shouldn't talk down about people because it makes them more like that. If you repeatedly tell someone they're forgetful, messy, selfish, they'll continue to conform to this identity. Use words to push people towards improvement. So, thanks for being so focused today. Or I really appreciate your efforts in staying organized. They encourage and reinforce a positive identity. You'll notice this now at work. Managers tend to use this language very well. Instead of saying things like, "try to meet your deadline," they'll say, "I trust you'll deliver on time as usual." Employees will feel confident that they're not being micromanaged and that they are empowered to make progress themselves and that they are capable of delivering. There's a few examples of this in scripture as well about the importance of words. So Proverbs 16:24, gracious words are like honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. So when we use kind, thoughtful, encouraging words, they act as a protection for the mind and spirit. Another one from Proverbs is 18:20. From the fruit of their mouth, a person's stomach is filled. With the harvest of their lips, they are satisfied. In other words, your words create the reality that you live in. Speak positively. When you speak in this way, you create self-fulfilling prophecies. Did Muhammad Ali become the greatest because he said he was the greatest, or did he become the greatest first? He said he was the greatest before he became the greatest. If you keep saying, "I'm bad at networking, I'm really bad in a social setting," you avoid opportunities to improve your skills. But if you switch to, "I'm actively seeking ways to become better at meeting new people, you'll start to see more opportunities and actually actively look to improve on the basis that you want to conform to that ideology, as I've said. If you tell yourself, I'm not a gym person, I'm not disciplined, you'll probably skip workouts. If you say I'm getting stronger every day, that will motivate yourself to go to the gym, eat better, and prioritize health. Your words can guide your actions, and over time, your actions create your reality, don't they? Think about a day where you say, I'm so stressed. Wouldn't it be better to say, I'm figuring things out? The word stressed creates more stress. If you say, I'm figuring things out, actually, that shows that you're using your intelligence. If you're figuring things out, it shows that you're being patient and you're trying the options. You're not stressed, you're not overwhelmed. The small shift again can move you from a place of being overwhelmed to empowerment. So, there's some tips for harnessing the power of words. Firstly, it's reframing negative self-talk. When you catch yourself with a negative statement, I'm terrible at this, try and reframe it to I'm learning to get better. Could be in work, fitness, relationships, whatever. Use positive reinforcements on others is another one. When you want to encourage someone, speak to them as though they're already the person you know they can be. You might tell your co-worker or someone that you manage, you're so dependable. You might tell this to yourself as well, and they'll strive to meet your expectation. You might say to your partner, you're always thoughtful, and they will rise to this occasion. Elevate your everyday language. We can get stuck in a sort of matrix in our own mind of the key concepts, sentences, ideas that we think of, the program, if you will. We need to change that program. Don't settle for anything that's fine or good. Look for something that's fantastic. Don't settle for a good car. Go find a great car. Don't settle for an average job. Try and seek something that's outstanding. And finally, be precise. Use specific words and try and understand how to manipulate the language in order to benefit you. Instead of saying this is a decent product, it's this is an exceptional offer. There's many, many ways that we can reframe sentences in order to change the perspective of this. As I said, advertisements are very, very good at this, salespeople and people who are just very generally charismatic. Precision and accuracy in your voice and the words you use is going to bring you massive success. Words aren't just sounds and letters arranged together. There's a lot more behind them in terms of meaning. There's an old adage that says there's a reason it's called spelling because it's like magic, casting a spell. Words can be a blueprint for your reality. The more you think about and use the right words, the more you can craft the life that you want. Next time you find yourself thinking negatively or making statements that are going to hinder you and self-sabotage, try and change them for something that is going to bring improved results.